guys! So today is Sunday and it is Easter, and I recently got a package from Amazon. I got some new books and I figured I would haul some of them for you guys. I only got a few. And I figured I would talk about some of my favorite books I've read so far this year. I'm just going to be talking about two of them. And if you are interested in the books I've read this year, I will leave my GoodReads down below. And I have written a review on every book I've read this year. So you can hear my thoughts about all of the books I've read. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into the haul. So the first book that I got is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. And this is the paperback edition because I got Throne of Glass in paperback. I don't have the other two books before this one. I read those on my phone, so I ended up getting the paperback version. I'm hoping to get the other books in paperback as well because I really just want to have all of them in paperback. I don't want to go paperback and then hardcover, paperback, you know, because that's just really annoying to me. So I want to have them all in one type of cover, so I'm going to stick with paperback for this one, and maybe somewhere in the future I will get them all in hardcover, I don't know. But I love this series so much. Like, seriously, this is one of my favorite series of all time now. Like, I love it. Oh, I love it so much. And so I am on page 197, so I'm getting pretty far into it. You know, I still have quite a long ways to go. It's a really, really big book. It's like 600 or so pages, and it's crazy, and I love it so much, and if you haven't read it, go and read it. It's so good. The next book that I got is The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and it's kind of hard to see the cover of it. There you go. It's kind of difficult to see it, but I am so excited to read this book. I follow Victoria on Twitter and I love her on Twitter, and I think she's so awesome. I like and retweet almost all of her tweets, and so I figured I haven't read any of her books yet, so might as well start now. And I've heard really great things about this book and I'm excited to start this series. And yes, I'm so excited, and the cover's so pretty. Like, look at this. I love how minimalist it is. I love it. The next book I am super excited about, and it is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. I read Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour and I cried so much and I fell in love. I was like, this is great. I'm finally reading a book about a girl who likes girls, and it's just so cool, and oh, I love it. So I decided to pick up her newest book. It's very short. It's going to be a super quick read, but I heard it's very emotional, so I am definitely excited to read this. I love Nina LaCour's writing. It's just so beautiful, and I'm so excited. So yeah, I got this one as well. So that was the end of my haul. It's a very short haul. I wanted to keep them all until I got more books, but I couldn't really help myself. It was really hard just to keep them, with me and not tell anyone about them. But I'm really excited to get into those books. So the next two books that I've read this year so far that I'm dying to talk about: The Crown by Kira Cass. I got this book, gosh, I think in December or January, maybe even before that. But I got this book and I put it off for a very long time because I started this series about 4 years ago. I read the first two books in 2 days and then I had to wait for the one to come out, and I read that so fast, and then I read The Heir really fast as well. And I know a lot of people don't really like the last two books because they're about Edelyn, and I don't know, some people don't like Edelyn. I personally love Edelyn even more than I loved America. I loved America, but I couldn't exactly relate to her. I could totally relate to Edelyn though. Everything about her I could so relate, and she's so dry, and she's serious, and people think she's kind of emotionless, and but I just I could so relate to her. All the reasons people didn't like Edelyn are I could relate to that. So I don't know if people probably don't like me, but that's alright. Yeah, I love Edelyn and I loved this book, and if you want to read my entire review on GoodReads, it is non-spoiler, so You don't have to worry about me spoiling any of the books I review because I don't put in spoilers. I try my best not to give spoilers because I know how annoying that is, because sometimes you just want to know if a book is worth reading. You don't really want to know everything that goes on in the book, so I make sure to not put spoilers in my reviews on GoodReads. So, but overall, this book was such a good ending to the series. I do wish that she would put out more books, but that's just me being greedy. I'm so greedy about this series. I literally read this book in like a day, like overall. Like I started it at the end of one day and finished it before the end of the next day. Like it was so good and it was so worth it, and I loved it. And I couldn't figure out I don't know, I don't want to give any spoilers, so I won't. But oh my gosh, if you've read this book, then talk to me about it. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. It's so good. The last book I want to talk about is The Glittering Court by Rochelle Mead. And I think I gave this one a 4 stars. I gave the other one, I think, about a 4 or 5 stars. I can't remember. I'm pretty generous with my reviewing and my stars, but I've never read a Rochelle Mead book before this one. And I got this one at Target, I think around in November or December. I think it was like a Christmas present to myself. It's a signed copy, so it has her signature on the inside of the cover, right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There we go, kind of, you can see it. There you go. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about this book. I actually read like a kind of review thing on GoodReads that completely butchered the plot and like butchered everything that happened in the story. I'm like, it was like trying to say something like the villain is a rich girl or something like that, and there's no love story, and something like, it was all like just like the complete opposite of everything that was actually in the book, and they were trying to dissuade people from reading it by giving like false information about the book. And I'm like, why would you do that? If you don't like it, like give good valid reasons why you shouldn't read it, you know? But I loved this book. I thought it was so good. It's definitely like more of like a trashy YA novel, but it is so good. I am like dying to get the next book. I'm just so ready. I read this one so fast, like literally way faster than I thought I was gonna read it, and it's so good. I accidentally ripped the cover though, which I'm like super sad about. I'm really not good at keeping care of my books, so don't trust me with a book. But yeah, if you want to read my review, it's definitely on GoodReads. No spoilers again, obviously. I don't like spoilers. And I'm super excited to read the next book. I haven't heard anything about the next book, so I don't know if it's worth reading. I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I hope I do. But you know, from this book, I think it's gonna be really good. There's a lot of twists and turns in this book. The main narrator in this book is completely unreliable, so if you don't like unreliable narrators, don't read it. It kind of reminds me of the narration in We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, so if you don't like that type of like very unreliable narrator where like you don't really know what's going on, then you're not going to like this, I promise you. But if you're open-minded to that kind of narration, and if you like a good unreliable narrator, go ahead and check this book out. It's so good. And yeah, I really loved it. I was like super surprised by how much I liked it. And I read it right after I read The Crown because I needed something kind of similar to The Crown and that whole series. And I was just like, you know what? This is probably the closest thing I have to it. So I definitely enjoyed it. Okay, so those were all of my books. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, go ahead and like it and subscribe to my channel. I make new videos every Sunday, or at least I try to. And if you didn't know, my book is on Wattpad right now, and I'm updating it almost daily now. I'm trying to do it every other day, but sometimes it ends up being twice a day, or once every other day, or once every day. So really just keep up with it. It's definitely going to be linked down below. And if you want to read any of my reviews for any of the books I've read this year, I've read 12 books so far, then you can go and check out my GoodReads. That's linked down below as well. And I will see you guys next Sunday. Bye!